What's going on, Doodle Bug? How we doing? Lonnie Gore, how we doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, we're not. I don't know how deep we're gonna get into this tonight, guys. We've been talking about it a lot, but there's another case that I'll be looking into. I don't know how much I'm gonna cover it, but I know Critical K's covering this case right now. But I haven't had a chance to watch her live that she did earlier tonight. But what's up, W11 Vapes? And Evie Bubbles. Okay. We got us a Kiwi in the house. It's good to see you, Evie. Glad you're here. Hey, that girl. So, I don't know how many people were listening to Danielle's live earlier tonight. It was very, very informative, as she always is. So she's definitely gonna be the go-to. Like I just talk about the shit on here. You know what I'm saying? I don't consider what I'm doing covering cases, but what Danielle covers the case. She goes over all the facts. I mostly just listen to her and talk about it with her, but yeah, I enjoy talking about this stuff. I hate stressing about it, but I do like talking about it. And it's good to see. I mean, regardless of the facts that we know. Hey, Norma Thomas. Hey, GK. Regardless of all the facts that we know, I mean, the thing is we're all pretty much. I'm going to admit it. I don't like saying what I think out loud so much when it comes to cases like this that have an open investigation going on, because we see it all the time. You know, although we're seeing a lot of things right now that are making Tecia, Gannon stepmom, look really, really bad. Hey, Diane in Pennsylvania. You know, we're seeing a lot of stuff that's making her look real bad. That's just true. You know, that's just true. But I feel like everybody's been doing good about really trying to listen to the facts. You know, our emotions come out sometimes, and then we do some name calling, and we do that, and that's going to happen. I get it. You know, I'm not criticizing anybody for that. But don't criticize me either, simply because I feel the need to be that voice of reason that says, before we start jumping to conclusions, let's get all the facts in. Because argued that there's enough facts presented to us that that is enough to basically just publicly prosecute Tecia for doing something awful that I don't even want to mention, because there's nothing so far. There's nothing forensically that we're aware of. There's nothing public that we're aware of that says that this boy is not alive and safe somewhere. Just not safe in the sense that he's at home with his father and mother, but that he is. We don't have anything yet to jump to this conclusion, to this awful, horrible conclusion, people. So, you know, we gotta keep hope alive for Gannon right now. So yeah, man, if you're in this chat and you're listening, throw up some blue hearts for Gannon. Um, and keep your hopes high for him. We it's not healthy for him. It's not good for him. If you're spiritual in any way, it's not a good thing for him for us to assume the worst and jump to the worst possible conclusion. And I realize it's not an easy thing to not do right now. I get that. I'm there too. You know, I'm not trying to act like I'm not with you guys. Like I'm totally there right now, and it sucks. But it's bugging me, and I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about it, and thank you guys for look at all those blue hearts, man. That's awesome. And you know, and speaking of the blue hearts, before I go on, it's cool because you know, my job, it's a big building. You know, it's a big, wide 2-story building, and it has these lights all around the building that kind of strobe up. I wouldn't say strobe, but go, you know, upwards to illuminate the building in a cool way, and you can set them to any color you want. And I went ahead and took the liberty of setting them. I'd post a picture, but I don't want to. I don't want to dox myself, you know. But I did take a picture, and I showed it to one person actually, yeah. So I'm you know, it's just blue lights. The building is illuminated blue, and it was just cool to me that I just so happen to work at a place where I have the power to do that and the means to do that. So and you can see it from the highway, man. You know what I mean? So it's really cool that it felt really good to me to be able to do that little gesture that's pretty massive, man. You know, so it was cool to be able to do that. So if my bosses ask about it, you know, I'll tell them, and I don't think that they would argue with me. I don't, you know, unless it's Christmas or something, you know, there's no reason why they would want the lights any other color than I set them to be. And if I explain why, I think they'll be okay with it. Yeah, man. But as far as jumping to this conclusion, to this awful conclusion prematurely, because that's what we've been doing inadvertently. You know, it's argued that we're not doing that. You know, if I say something about that, like in Danielle's chat, somebody will say, hey, that's not what we're doing, we're just speculating. And it's like, no, you're basically you're theorizing based on the conclusion that you've already made, that Gannon is no longer with us and that Tecia is responsible for that. So I want to be careful not to do that. And I get why. I mean, it looks bad, but let's look at the Chris Watts case. That's the easiest case to go back to and reference when it comes to using an example to explain what I'm talking about when we talk about things like this. And with the Chris Watts case, I mean, there were so many details of that case that we did not know anything about until that discovery came out. That discovery was big. You know, there was a lot. Actually, it really wasn't. A lot of other cases, the discoveries are way full of more information and details on an investigation. So we don't have any of that yet. We have a little bit. We have as much as law enforcement wants us to know, and maybe a little bit more. And when I say what I'm referencing there is the knowledge of this video that's out. And yes, I want to be abundantly clear about this. We don't know anything about Tecia other than she's a liar. That I feel comfortable saying. She's definitely lying. So I'm not, I'm not dismissing that detail, that fact. she's definitely lying, and she definitely lied about the whereabouts of Gannon. And this video footage proves it. But there's nothing to indicate otherwise that something actually happened. Not to us anyway. Who knows what the police have? I mean, let's, when somebody argues with me and says we know enough, Will, we know enough, Glare. I go, do we though? Because there's we don't know if because Gannon had a cell phone. We don't know if his cell phone pinged somewhere or if it didn't. We don't know if Tecia's cell phone pinged somewhere or it didn't. We don't know any of this stuff yet. We don't know if a GPS location on the car. We don't know if they found any DNA evidence or anything to indicate a body was in that rental car yet. We don't know anything yet. We have to keep that in mind. It's important if we're going to be a true crime community that actually wants, and I care about this. Maybe a lot of you don't, and that's not to say anything negative about you, because you don't have to. There's no obligation to feel this way. But it's important to me that the true crime community on YouTube maintains a decent reputation. I want to be that place where families can go to speak out and have a voice, and look to us for help, because there's a lot of sleuths, man. A lot of people follow this stuff, and they follow it for the right reasons, not just for the drama, not just because it's a popular thing to do, but they genuinely care. And in the case of Gannon here, I'm sure a lot of people really care about his whereabouts and want to know where he is. And I think it's a really good thing if we focus on being a good example. Now, there's no obligation to do that, but I think morally there's kind of an obligation to do that, at least for creators, panelists. I definitely feel as though there is a certain responsibility, because we're being a voice here, and a lot of people listen. And I don't want to be someone that people listen to and trust, and then I say or do something that's very irresponsible, and then that spreads in some way. I don't want to have that on my head. So I don't want to take my position here and this platform for granted in that sense. And it's very important to me. So don't get upset with me simply because I want to make sure that people who listen to me understand the fact that there is a lot going on in this investigation that we are not aware of yet. So the only thing that we know now, we might feel like we know something in our gut. I get that, but we don't know. We probably only know a fraction of what what law enforcement knows. What's up, Mignon? Hey, Lufa and Audra O. Yeah, I gotta look at chat here. Stephanie, it's good to see you. Yeah, man. So I just want to be very, very clear about that. I think everybody and I don't think anybody's really doing anything really bad. I think we learned a lot from the Shane Carey thing. And that's been brought to my attention too. Wow, Shane Carey was different because he didn't even indicate in his television interview that he was any less concerned for Heidi and Margot than anyone else. That could be argued for sure, because it turned out to be true. But the thing is my attitude towards this remains the same as it did with that, because when I first saw the interview, I was like, well, he very well may be. He's still the first person that you would suspect, so I thought that, and I thought, who knows? I'm not seeing any indication from his interview that he's guilty of anything, but I don't know if he is or not. I didn't know. So at the time, that's how I felt. But it was important to not falsely accuse this man. This is a little different. Um, the reason why I feel comfortable speaking my mind about Tecia and how I feel about her as a person, uh, without considering what she may be going through, is because uh, the person that I'm seeing, she is she did not show even she didn't even show like she was trying to show concern for um Gannon and what his whereabouts were. So so I don't mind telling her, speaking up here as to how I feel about her as a person, but I'm not about to call somebody a murderer before I know the facts yet. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everyone. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at on this. So I want to be real careful with that. And from what I've seen, man, I was in Mommy Ramblings blogs chat last night. And she was talking about the Gannon case, and everyone in chat that was mind blowing to me. When I see a chat, uh, when I see a chat that has like 400 people in it, and everybody's being cool, everybody was being cool. There was like no trolls in there at all. Like, I was impressed. I was impressed. To me, that speaks volumes about that channel. To be perfectly honest, that speaks volumes about uh, how professional a channel is, and it attracts a certain type of person. So I think that it was a real pleasure to be part of that chat last night. So I wanted to acknowledge that. So so let's talk a little bit about the Gannon case. I'm not going to go over details too much. I don't really feel like thinking a lot tonight, guys. um, but there's no reason to go over things over and over and over again when we don't have any new developments. A lot of channels are talking about this case, and they're doing really well. I was also in God, what is her name? I love her channel too, and I can't think of her name right now. But I was in her chat, and she was covering the case, and she was Google Earthing like the hiking area. And it was really insightful, and I was really enjoying that as well. And give me 1 second here. I want to be clear about, Bridget Parker. Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to drop a link for Bridget Parker here, because she's got a great channel, and she's coming up too. She's a really good true crime channel, and I'm gonna go ahead and share that here in the chat. So yeah, so this is Bridget Parker's channel. I really like her channel. I like the way that she presents things. So yeah, so go ahead and if you have a second to just click on the link that I dropped there and subscribe to her channel. Save Robbie, but Fabi for banana for Fabi. How's it going, brother? So also well, I don't know. Do we want to keep talking about Gannon? We If we come back to that, we will. I want to bring a little bit of attention to this young gentleman. I want to bring a little bit of awareness to this young gentleman here. I think you guys. Yeah, hold on a second. So I'm going to play this little clip here. See what y'all think. Oh, wait a second. I think I may have forgotten to. Sorry, guys. Hold on a second. Yep, I know I forgot to do that, but here we go. Okay. All right.
A teenager facing capital murder charges made his first court appearance today in a case that rocked the community of Mumford. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherry Jackson. Let's go live to CBS 42 News reporter Corey McGinnis, who saw Landon Durham in the
what the hell is going on?
Courtroom today. Corey, you talked with his attorney.
Yeah, Sherry, and I can tell you this, the 16-year-old, when he walked in the courtroom, he appeared to be really in low spirits. He was sworn in, then the judge read his indictment, and that's when he was charged with capital murder for the death of his mother and his twin brothers. Now, take a look at this video. Now, the cameras, they weren't allowed in the courtroom, but this video shows Landon Durham facing the judge for the first time. Family members in tears when charges were announced, leaning on each other for support, slowly walking out of the courtroom and weren't ready to speak with the media. The teen is accused of killing his 36-year-old mother, Christina Durham, and two brothers, Branson and Barron, by stabbing them with a knife at a house in Munford Tuesday. Durham will now be represented by attorney Mark Nelson, who has been practicing litigation since the early 90s. So the question now is, what happens next? Well, a preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 28th, and that's when the judge will decide on whether Durham will stand trial. Authorities have not yet released a motive for the three murders. We're live in Talladega County tonight. Corey McGinnis, CBS 42 News, local coverage you can count on.
Corey, thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's a little, yeah, that's a touch much, to say the least. This kid Landon Durham, he is let's see, let me get a little, I want to get an idea. Now here, I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. So look at this kid's mugshot, right? Look at this kid's mugshot. He seems to be almost happy about where he is now. Critical K, she covered this earlier, and I was only in her chat for a second, but she mentioned something about this mugshot that I want to be very clear about, because I want to reiterate her point. Actually, she said something that I very, very much agree with. This mugshot, it's exactly that. It is a snapshot. You don't know. We have no idea what was going on in that room when that picture was taken. A guard could have made him laugh, or tried to make him feel relaxed, or I mean, he is, after all, a kid. And when you learn a little bit more details about this case, I think what you do is you start to kind of you have to wonder if mental illness is involved. You absolutely have to wonder if mental illness is involved, because it certainly seems that way. I am not a trained mental health professional in any way, shape, or form, but I do get I am getting a not healthy mentally vibe from this kid. And he is so we don't know what was going on in that picture. So it's not, I'm not quick to go and call this kid evil just yet, although the act of what he did was pure evil. I mean, we're talking about a kid who in their sleep murdered his mother and 2 twin brothers and stabbed them to death. I don't know as to the extent of how many times he stabbed him, what kind of knife was used. I think it was quoted by law enforcement that it was a knife type object, something to that effect. They said something like that. So it's not even released yet if it was actually a knife, but I'm guessing it was. It's probably safe to assume that it was. Now, this kid, get this. So after this kid stabbed his mother and 2 twin brothers to death, younger twin brothers, after he murdered them, this kid apparently went back to bed, okay, went to sleep, and then went to school. Apparently, either a friend or a family member was concerned about the whereabouts of this family and then found the body. I don't know exactly how long that was. Again, I'm not covering this case. I'm just talking about it a little bit. And this is definitely directed to those who, so yes, if you guys, I definitely suggest if you want a YouTuber's, a true crime YouTuber's perspective on this case. I know that Critical K is talking about it and going over it. So and she went live. So go ahead and watch her live if you want like the details of the case so far. I would assume that she would share those at least as far as what she has so far. So I do know other true. I do know other true crime creators are covering this case. I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit with some people who have been following it. I might go. I don't know how deep I'll go with this, but I just heard about this case last night. And I'm gonna look over this article a little bit with you guys. Okay, so he's only 16. And his mother, Holly Durham, and his brothers, who were twins, are 13, and their names were Branson and Barron. And this was in Munford, Alabama, which is in Talladega County, Alabama, which I'm guessing is what that where that Will Ferrell race car movie took place. And he and they arrested him at a store the next day, I guess. And he's being charged right now as an adult with capital murder. And there's no motive yet. We don't know anything about motive so far. So that's it's fair to say that I'm very interested in this case. So I'm curious as to find out. This is the thing right now. Like if God forbid Gannon's no longer with us, I want to know what the motive was. I want to know who did it, and I want to know what the motive was. Because again, let's we're focused on the facts that we do have, but let's also acknowledge the facts that we don't have regarding the Gannon Stauch case. We don't have information on the cell phone. We don't know what evidence was collected from the rental car. We don't know why she rented a car. She rented a car apparently Monday morning and then returned it later that same day. Why would you rent a car just for that one day? What would be the reason behind that? So, again, we don't know what the reason for that is. But it's all not looking good. I mean, I do recognize the fact that when you look at all the facts of this case, it kind of leads you to a neighborhood of the same theory. You know what I mean? Within the same neighborhood of said theory, and it's an ugly theory. And yes, Lufa, that's exactly true. I said that earlier. Thank you for acknowledging that and reiterating that. All we know so far about Tecia is that she lied. That's all we know. We honestly know nothing beyond that. So we got to be careful. We got to be very careful in how we present things. And I might have gotten a little, overzealous myself. I'm not gonna, I may have gotten a little overzealous myself when it comes to talking about her, but I stand by my opinion of her as a person so far. I mean, sorry, but I don't think that she's a very honest person. I don't think that she's a trustworthy person. I don't think that she's a nice person. And I have all these things that indicate these things to me. Just, that interview was more than enough. And as far as, her being a nice person, I mean, just the way that she spoke to her daughter with such, come here, tell them, it was just really odd, man. Really, really odd behavior. And I don't think that that's, definitely not typical behavior of somebody who has a missing child or even stepchild. Her focus was definitely not on finding Gannon, and when she had the opportunity to make her focus on Gannon and finding him safely, what she did with that was she indicated that the only reason she wanted to find Gannon and bring him home safely was so that he could clear her name. I mean, I'm not man, I'm just not I'm not liking that woman, dude. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I don't like her. But you know what? I'll go so far as to be this much of a dick, though. This is how much merit you should have as far as me feeling that way about Tecia and having those feelings about her as a person, right? When I didn't know anything about the Watts case and I was looking at all the video footage that Shanann had made and posted on social media, I didn't think too highly of Shanann either. I didn't like her very much. Not gonna lie. She just seemed like the kind of person that I know I wouldn't get along with. I just did not care for her. But and a lot of that was taken as though I was saying that she deserved to die, which I don't feel that way about anyone. And not at all. Like, Shanann did not deserve to die. Shanann, at best, as far as my opinion went of her, deserved for me to kindly and politely leave a room when she entered it. That was my feelings as far as how I felt about her and my opinion of her. I didn't see her as the kind of person that I would get along with or relate to very much. And I'm okay with that. Now, this lady, I just can't stand. Like, this is the kind of lady that I feel like when she's in a room, she just sucks all the energy out of the room. You know what I'm talking about? Like, she's, those type of people, man, they're just fucking exhausting. Just their mere presence is fucking exhausting, dude. So I have an issue. I have an issue with people like that. And I very much, I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I very much think that Tecia is that kind of person that when she walks into a room, my natural reaction is to sigh heavily. Just so yeah, that's how I feel about Tecia right now. I don't I don't care for her very much. I now that doesn't necessarily mean that because I feel that way about her, I think she's a murderer. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of people I don't like. I don't think they're going around killing people, much less kids, you know, kids that they care for, supposedly. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a hell of a thing to throw at somebody when you don't really know anything. You know, we don't even know, like, okay, so she rented the car, right? She lied. She left the house with Gannon and came back in the trunk without Gannon, right? But we don't know if she went to go meet somebody, right? We don't know anything. We don't know if she's protecting somebody. I'm not saying that's the case, and I'm not even saying that I believe that. I'm just saying we don't know any of this shit. So we gotta be super careful, guys. We can't just jump into, I solved the case. I know exactly what happened. You can't just do that. These are real people. These aren't characters on some TV show, man. These are real people, really affected by this. You can't just jump to these crazy ass conclusions and start talking about, people murdering people, man. Kids, you can't just do that. I'm not even, I can't even do that when it comes to theft. You know how much it takes for me? Like, I have to know beyond a fucking doubt that you stole something before I accuse you of stealing. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. Like, because here's the thing, man. Somebody calls me a thief, we're going outside, dude. You know what I'm saying? You call me a thief, we're going outside. We're gonna resolve that issue quick. Like, don't ever call me a thief. We're gonna have a problem. Like you need to be able to physically back that shit up. That's how personally I take that. So I'm not, so imagine you're quick to accuse somebody of killing their own stepchild, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I get that it looks bad. I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you guys on that. I know it looks bad, but gotta have hope for Gannon, man. We gotta keep the hope going for Gannon. You have to. It's bad for him, because what you don't realize you're doing is as soon as you start looking at this woman and start focusing on she did it, you, without realizing it, you're losing hope for Gannon. That's what that's costing you. That's the cost of accusing someone of murdering the missing child. The cost of that is losing hope that that child is safe and alive somewhere and waiting to be saved. So you're trading that in. So just keep that in mind. You're trading that in when you do that. That's all I'm saying. So let's throw up those blue hearts again, man. Let's throw up all those blue hearts for Gannon. And I'm not trying to talk at y'all, man. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be like, you got to do this and you got to do that. I know I even word that shit sometimes like that. I'm sorry. But you got to, try to understand where I'm coming from. You got to try to understand where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to be, I feel like you guys count on me to be a voice of reason on here. And so I want to deliver, that's all it is. I just want to deliver and be that dude for you, But anyways, so let's go back. Let's go. I'm gonna check out check out that video again. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's watch that interview one more time. What do you guys say about that? Let's watch that interview one more time. All right, hold on, guys. So we're gonna watch Tecia's interview one more time, guys. We're gonna beat this fucking thing to death. That's what we're gonna do. Y'all down for that? We're gonna pick this thing apart, y'all.
You are.
I am Tecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would.
So yeah, so she just sits there right there. She admits out loud on camera here that she was the last person to see Gannon. So so that's a big deal right there. So
more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said, that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's
so she's like, I mean, she didn't even waste time right there, right? She didn't even waste time when it came to jumping into it being about her, right? Like right off the bat, she does that real quick. Let's watch that again.
not make these false accusations, like would be
This lady.
willing to.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about that, but let's talk about me. Here we go.
Together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said, that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already.
And I love my man's face, dude. Right? I love my man's face. Like, he totally knows that she is full of shit. He knows it.
Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many.
All right, so there's where she confirms herself that she was booted out. She was put out the house, but she's sitting there saying that she needs to be there in order to find Landon. Listen, man, if I'm staying in a homeless shelter, right? If I'm stuck in a homeless shelter and this child is missing, I'm pulling resources from the homeless shelter if I can. I'm doing whatever I got to do my part. I'm at least, if I got nowhere to go, then I'm trying to kill time. I've been homeless before as a kid. So the worst thing about it, honestly, was just trying to kill time. Find something to do. Find something to do with yourself. So if there's a search party going on out there, I'm going to be in as many of those search parties as I can be in, you know, I'm going to be searching, you know, and just nap wherever I can. And that's if I'm homeless. You see what I'm saying? Like, and she's sitting there making the excuse that I got to be home. I got to sit here. I got to be home. So she's just bitter about being booted. She mentions the ex staying there, right? She mentions the ex staying there, which wasn't even necessary. She didn't have to mention that. She just could have said, like, I want to be home so that I can support my family and be there for my family. But she's not even, she's not even she's saying that the only thing that she can do is be home. That's I call bullshit on that. You need to get out there and search.
The other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, and then during the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And can I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that.
Yeah, this dude is like, please do. Like he wants her talking. He knows what he's getting right here is gold. He knows it. He knows that she's just dropping bomb after bomb after bomb, and he's letting her go. He sees this is a guy who knows his job, right? And part of his job, I would imagine, I'm not a reporter, but part of his job is to get the person you're interviewing talking. Just get them talking. When it comes to something like this. Now, when you're stopping people out on the street and there's some sort of event and you're just like, hey, are you having a good time? And they're like, yeah, I'm having a great time. You want them to shut the fuck up quick and move on. But in a situation like this, you want her talking. You want to get her yapping. And he smells that she's the kind of person that loves to talk, and he's letting her do it. And he's slick about it too, because he's totally engaged in everything she's saying, and he's got a complete and total poker face on too as he's doing it. This is a guy good at his job.
By them, I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was.
See, I think that she's I think that she's telling half truths here. This is just me theorizing because I wasn't there. I'd love to see video of this interview. I'd love to see that because that they recorded it for sure. But I'm thinking that she's telling half truths here. I think when she was there and she asked to speak to a lawyer, what they probably told her is, you're not under arrest. You don't, this is just an interview. You don't need a lawyer. You're not, I mean, I don't even know if they read her Miranda rights prior, which I think even in an interview, you're probably supposed to do. But, I mean, who knows, but, it's a bad idea, man. It's a bad idea to throw shade on the police for two reasons. One, if you're already a person of interest in the sense, and not in the sense that they were very clear about, a person of interest is anybody who may have information on the case. That's what they consider a person of interest. The spokeswoman for the sheriff's department did say that. So, but when we're talking about a person of interest, is just, in our definition of a person of interest is somebody who is just a notch under suspect, right? So if you're a person of interest and you're pissing off the cops and you're throwing shade on the cops and how they do their job, that's bad. That's a bad look for you. That's a real bad look for you. But on the other hand, also in the sense of just simply finding Gannon and wanting the police, again, I talked about this before. What you want is for the police to care personally, to invest personally in finding Gannon. You want them to relate to you. You want them to be your best friends. You want them to, you want to let them know, I need you to do your job as well as you can, as best as you can. Please, I'm begging you to do it. I trust you to do it, which is a lot along the lines of what Landon, not Landon, what's her name? Is that her name? Am I confusing her with the boy that I was talking about earlier? Yeah, okay, so her name is Landon. So her name is Landon as well. Okay. But you could see that in her in the press conference that she held. You can she totally lets the police know, hey, I am counting on you. I trust you, because she acknowledges that one of them said that they had a 90% success rate in finding missing children, and that person and she acknowledged that person, like, you tell me you have a 90% success rate, I believe you. I'm counting on you. Tecia here's doing the opposite of that. She's throwing shade on them, and she's saying that these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. And that's a bad move. That's a bad move, because that's going to make them passive aggressively. It's not going to, but there's the risk. There's the risk of making them passive aggressively just not invest as much in the investigation and feeling the importance of what it is to find Gannon and find him and bring him home safely. So what she's doing is sabotaging. She's in her own subtle, well, not even subtle, but in her own way, she is she's sabotaging the investigation to find her missing stepson.
Continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives. And so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started
you
to
just
get when I
did.
would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with, and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears.
And I want to be clear about something here too. And this is not in her defense necessarily, but she has a doctorate in education, which I find, I'm going to admit, I find strange. People are shocked at the fact that she's only 30 years old. But she apparently supposedly has a doctorate in education. For somebody who has a doctorate in education, and a lot of people are saying, oh, well, why would she need help with vocabulary? Well, she does need help with, I've defended her in this sense, because what she meant to say, I truly believe what she meant to say was she wanted a lawyer or an attorney there to help her with legal terminology. That's, I think, honestly what she meant to say. But here's the thing, though. I've said this in other chats, but it occurred to me recently also that, because the thing is, the question is, well, if she has a doctorate in education, then why does she need help with the vocabulary of okay, well, true. But if she couldn't find the right vocabulary to express the fact that what she meant was legal terminology, then yeah, I find it shocking that she has a doctorate in education. She couldn't word that correctly. So even though I defended and I didn't defend her, I just kind of clarified what I think she meant when she said that. The argument still stands. The argument still stands. Why couldn't she word that properly? If she has a doctorate in education, why couldn't she simply say, I needed a lawyer there to help me with legal terminology that I was not familiar with? Why is that so hard to do? I have an 8th grade education, guys. I figured it out. So it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that she has a doctorate, and it's also shocking also that she's only 30 years old, guys. This is a fact. Tecia is only 30 years old. And she's been married at least twice already that we know of. So we also know that she had a profile at one point. I'm not sure when, but it was a profile at one point in a sugar daddy finder app. So she was on the search for somebody to take care of her at some point.
Trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. but at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye, because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never.
Why throw that in there? Because his mother didn't want to do it. Well, what was the point of that? Why are you bringing this woman into into this situation and your dynamic with her? Why is that a thing right now? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah. You might be right about that, Doodlebug. You might be right about that. Yeah, 30 with a 17-year-old daughter, dude. So she got pregnant young, man. She got pregnant young. Now that's not to judge her. And here's the thing about that too. What we need to also consider is young mothers that have kids that young, and they're even responsible mothers, the ones that are very responsible, they don't tend to mature very well. They tend to mature in the sense of having a sense of they tend to mature in the sense of being a mother, right? But what they don't do, the thing is, you have to understand, if you're a responsible mother at such a young age, that they missed out. They missed out on being social. The best years of their life, they missed out on that because they're dedicated to being a mother. So you don't get to gain those social skills that you would have from hanging out with people in social situations when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You know what I'm saying? Where you're partying and you're discovering yourself. But I've got the feeling, though, she looks like a partier to me, man. So I don't know about that. But she probably just failed to mature because she had no interest in maturing. But that's not to say that she was a bad mother, though. I don't know about that. I mean, by the looks of her daughter, her 17-year-old daughter, she looks pretty well-rounded. So, I mean, that's that. If that's the case, a lot of times, I mean, you've got to give credit to the mom. If the mom's in her life and she's well-rounded, she's okay. You got to give some credit to the mom. But I have seen it before where a girl grows up to be a very well-rounded young woman who basically kind of lived by the I don't want to ever be like my mom kind of attitude. And that's what drove them to grow up and be more well-rounded. So follow the example of their friends and their friends' moms. That's a very common thing too, or at least I've seen it before. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Ever hurt this child? And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun. And my daughter, a 17-year-old who served our country in the United States Air Force, who has never
committed. See, I there's something about women or girls who, when they talk, they do this a lot. You know, they get really into what they're saying, and this, that's, to me, that's a tell of immaturity. That's a very childish, very, very adolescent mannerism to have, in my opinion, based on people that I've known growing up and that I've seen since I've grown up. So yeah, I've noticed that. So there's definitely a lot of immaturity with her when it comes to that. Like,
committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in hand. we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States, happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun, and my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse.
Okay, so I'm wondering if she's talking about the keys to the rental car. But the rental car was returned, so that's probably not it. I'm just curious as to, it seemed like, it sounds to me like, because I've tried to go over this in my head. I've tried to theorize a little bit as far as to what the circumstances were and what the reasons for the police drawing their guns and handcuffing. So apparently, according to Tecia here in this interview, she was handcuffed so that she could not interfere with them searching her purse for a set of keys to a vehicle. I'm wondering what vehicle that was, though. And I'm wondering if they had a warrant to search that vehicle. And so she was born in 1983. My math sucks. How old does that make her? Let me see real quick. Damn. Oh, okay. So she's 37. So I was misinformed. She's actually 37 years old, which is what I would have guessed, actually. But that reiterates my point that much more as far as her mannerisms go. She's extremely immature. She's even more immature than I thought. So I find that extremely interesting. I find that really interesting. Yeah, Rebecca, good point. Emotionally delayed for sure. Well, Doodlebug, being a bitch ages you. That comment there, well, that's the opposite. You know, she's obviously aged pretty slowly. So
in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officer?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw.
See, look at this guy. Look, I'm going to rewind this a little bit. I want you to watch the interviewer, guys. This interview is noticing her mannerisms as well. He's paying very close attention to her. He is studying her right now. He is sizing her up, and we are watching this man come to the conclusion that he thinks that she is guilty of something. Watch.
Didn't even know it was the law enforcement officer.
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got to, like, who's this guy?
Did you see that? He was looking at her hand movements and paying close attention to that, and then he just gave the camera a little look. Right. I agree with you, Jane B. So he just did that. He just watch him do this. He gives the camera a little look after he sizes her up.
Told me that, and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got to,
right
who's
there.
This guy? And then and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got
there. Damn, too late.
The gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh,
yeah, he's looking right at the camera right now. He's looking right at the camera right now, and he's sitting here thinking, man, this is gold. He's like, this shit is great because this woman is giving me everything that I want. and he's just so happy that the camera's catching it all.
I got the, like, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was a sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That should happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping, because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. We came here and got clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay.
Yeah. See, a lot of people are saying something about, like, how can she be shopping when her stepson is missing, things of that nature. What we have to take into consideration is the possibility, actually the likelihood, that she was not, everything is probably being held as evidence and being searched. She probably wasn't allowed to take anything from that house. So she was asked to leave the house, and the police are probably more than likely saying, you and your daughter cannot take anything from this house. We may need to analyze it. We may need to wash. We can't risk you washing any DNA off anything. I mean, they're probably not going to tell her that. That's probably why they were not allowed to take anything from the house. It's been argued that law enforcement or that Albert would be like, no, here, take your shit. Here's a bag and take everything and get the hell out of my house, right? But yeah, it stands to reason that he would do that. But what I'm actually thinking really is that law enforcement, for some reason, I'm thinking they probably had a warrant, and they probably didn't need one and got consent to search and analyze her things. So I'm thinking the reason why they were not taking anything from the house was because they were told that they couldn't. And therefore you're forced to go shopping and buy underwear and toiletries and things of that nature.
You know, they could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check her chat. Doing great. Well, make sure that we're still going to recording. Still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while, my mic will get out, and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here. Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the source.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows, and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead.
I'm laughing at a couple of things. I'm laughing at this lady talking about people watching too many law shows, and which is probably true. She's probably right. We probably watch too many law shows and too many true crime shows, and it's probably to an unhealthy level. I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Tecia. But I'm also laughing. I'm laughing at the chat. Yo, y'all hate this woman, dude. I'm laughing at the chat because y'all hate this lady, dude. It is so funny. It is so funny to me. I mean, I get it. You know, I don't care for her much either at all. But I mean, y'all are like, pitchforks. That shit is so funny to me.
And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online.
Hold on, man.
I am going to be
blaming you for that child not being there. How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology
This
for
lady
all these
fucking
theories that have
sucks,
come out online,
dude.
for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic.
You know what she
Mario,
sounds like to me here?
you know
what she sounds like to me here when she's describing Gannon? She sounds like a teacher. This is fucked up, but she sounds like a teacher talking to a parent on parents' night about a kid that she hates. You know, just totally phony. That's what she sounds like to me. That's very funny to me. She sounds like a teacher on parents' night, talking to a parent about a kid that's in her class that she can't stand, and the student is a good student and is probably just all smug, and then she has to be nice, or else that teacher or else that parent is gonna go off on her.
You know, he's always helpful, and he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs, and he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. You know, sometimes with kids, we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay, but he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? Such a kind
She
heart.
totally sounds like that, man.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this, but is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, you know, she came home from work after the hike and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
She's not even a good liar, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not even good at it. Like, this is the thing is I keep hearing, you know, let's talk about the N-word. The N-word that's in the true crime community, not the N-word that's in real life. That's an ugly, ugly word. But this word, in the true crime community, I like to refer to it as the N-word, only because I'm sick and fucking tired of hearing it thrown around, because nobody's qualified to make that assumption and to diagnose somebody. So, so we know what the N-word is as far as the true crime community goes. It's just thrown around like nothing. And this is how I don't think that she falls under that category. I don't think she falls under that category because I don't think that she is manipulative. I think that she is angry. I think that she's full of rage. I think that she is a person with a nasty disposition and a nasty attitude. That's the vibe I get from her, but I don't think that she is a manipulative narcissist. Because normally a narcissist is good at it. A narcissist can fool you. A narcissist knows exactly who you are and knows what to look for in order to push your buttons and then make you out to be crazy, to gaslight you so that you can't come back on them. That's what a narcissist does. That's how they operate. This woman's not doing that. She's just in a shitty, desperate position and she's lying. That's all she's doing. She's just not doing it well at all. So you can clearly tell that she's lying. And it's easy to tell that she's lying. So that's why I don't think that she's a narcissist. Being a liar doesn't make you a narcissist. Being a liar also does not make you a murderer. So I want to keep that in mind as well. I want to be very clear about that. But but she's definitely, I don't think, I mean, again, I can't say she's not a narcissist any more than I can say she is. I'm saying that I from what we know about narcissism, she's not that, I don't think. She doesn't fit that profile, I don't think. I think she's very selfish. I think she's very self-centered, but you don't have to be a narcissist to be self-centered. Self-centered is not the definition of narcissism. It's not. So just because she's self-centered does not mean you get to throw some bullshit diagnosis at somebody when you're not qualified to do it. So guys, let's watch it with the N-word around here, please.
And if she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to ask her.
And he even subtly is like, don't make her do anything she doesn't want to do. I'm not trying to make her uncomfortable. I asked you a question. I asked you a question. You don't need to drag this child into this situation. But she's hell bent on it. Just look at her. But he even kind of subtly, because he doesn't want to piss her off. You could tell that she's got a short fuse. So he doesn't want to piss her off. He wants to keep her talking. He wants to keep the interview going. He wants to make her believe that he's on her side. So he's not gonna call her out on that. But you could tell his conscience was just kind of like, she doesn't want to. It's okay,
And go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at her home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. And if she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed.
That's fine.
Okay, so
nobody in the chat
Yes.
that I know
I
of
need
said
Harley.
she was a narcissist, by the way. Not yet.
I need Harley.
But I've heard
They
it
want
in
you to
other.
verify with Gannon
I've
at
heard
home
it in
after the
other
hike.
chats, and
'Cause you didn't go to the hike,
that's
you
why
came
I
home from
felt the
work.
need to address it, because I thought of it. But nobody here that I know of has said it. So
Yes.
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes. So I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Oh, yes. Okay. I guess when
And then we ate Burger King afterwards. So
this is really interesting
Garden
to me
Gods.
right here.
Okay.
I was at work, and I can verify.
still, a child.
Want to, that's okay, but you're allowed.
That's fine. My daughter up here, because she can.
So he's like, if she doesn't want to, don't make her. But it's fine with me if you want to bring her over here. But then he does something very, very slick here, guys. This news reporter, he does something very, very slick. What he does is he asks, you will see Tecia say that she went on a hike with Gannon, and when she came home Sunday with Gannon, she was already home Sunday with Gannon, and Sunday night her daughter came home from work because the two of them went on the hike, but she was at work, and it's what she's being brought on camera for is to verify that she saw Gannon when she got home from work at the house. So, but watch what happens here.
She can go and say that, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. And if she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed. Sound okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work. He heard this. She's already coaching and saying, you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work. Watch this.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work.
Okay, she realizes, what's really funny here is she realizes, oh wow, thank you, Trudy Richard. she realizes here that that she's coming off like she's coaching her, and she tries to save it. She goes, because she hears her daughter go, "You want me to say so and so, right?" And she goes, "No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and saw Gannon." Watch.
You can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah.
Did you say yes?
Hmm?
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah.
So right there, she coaches her on what to say.
I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's a.
And then she plays the fact that she's a child because she's afraid. She's afraid of what she's going to say on camera. She's clearly afraid of what Harley is going to say on camera here. So this is really, really interesting to me. She gets really, really nervous about that. And she says, and then she says, well, she uses the fact that she's a child to keep it brief, and that's the reason. I told her to keep it brief and not to go into any depth because she's a child. And she doesn't want to put her through the trauma of being interviewed, but it was her who insisted on her coming over to verify her statement. So to me, that's very, very interesting. She comes over and she rushes over there. Now I want to bring my daughter in this. I need Harley right now. I need Harley. Bring Harley over here. And then now she's just a child. She's just a child, So she knows what she's doing here.
Another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate.
Okay. Now see this right here. He just got the daughter to admit that she was on the hike. He kind of tricked her into that. He's like, but you went on. Watch.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
He was looking right at her. There was a hike that you guys went on, and then you guys came home. And he's looking right at the daughter when he does that. He's looking right at her when she says that, and then she verifies and says yes. So he trips her up and realizes that he tricks her into catching her on the lie. And then you can see, as I'm going to once I press play here, you can see his reaction to what just happened. He's trying really hard to keep a poker face here, and it's pretty impressive, but there's a tell here. He's like, fuck, she just fucking lied. They're lying. You can tell he's thinking this. Look.
Garden of the Gods.
Okay.
Right there.
I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards.
He's like, fuck, they're lying.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just, I'm off to go to a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore.
Of course you're not.
For
He's
that
shaking
reason,
his head like,
some
of
things
course
have
you're
been
not.
turned and twisted.
Right.
And, that was one of those stories you were talking about where
at
people
this point,
say things.
The look on his face is, everything coming out of your mouth, lady, is a crock of shit. Everything coming out of your mouth is, I'm just watching diarrhea spew out of your face right now. That's the look of this guy's face, and I'm loving it.
We had to hear things like, who would let their child go out at dark?
His demeanor completely changes. The look on his face changes when he's looking at her.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards, so
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house.
Look at his face.
Just, I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore, and for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted, and that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like, who would let their child go out at dark, and things like that, and that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
It's okay.
Never mind.
Right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
legal
stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to?
That's a good point, Mommy for the win. That's a really good point. You're saying, hold on, let me highlight your comment too. I got to catch up here. Hold on. You're making a really good point here, Mommy for the win. You're right. As far as lying about, I mean, there's nothing to gain about lying about that, but she totally coached her there. So we don't know, there's obviously some sort of deception going on here, but you're right. It's already verified that he was there Monday morning. We know he was there at the house Monday morning because we saw him get into that red truck. I don't have the footage here with me. I could actually stream it. I don't think Danielle would care if I streamed that video footage. But I think there's definitely some deception here, but you're right. That's a very good point. I mean, so as far as Sunday goes, I mean, who knows? But because we saw, you're making a valid point, because we saw the footage of Gannon getting into that truck on Monday morning, that would mean that he was home Sunday night, right? So you're right. So why would they lie though? You know what I'm saying? Or why would she coach? So maybe the daughter didn't see him that night for whatever reason, and then she went ahead and discussed it and coached her. But at the very least, she's overly defensive, which is very, very strange. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna as soon as this is over, which is just a second, I'm gonna verify, or I'm gonna play the
I hope
the surveillance footage.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things, because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home, because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like, we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, and
do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And, here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like, we should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens, because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband.
I mean, so right there, that indicates that her husband suspected her of something from the beginning. She just said right there that the reason why she wants Gannon to come home is to clear her name and to get everybody to stop talking bad about her and throwing these accusations at her, especially her husband. So this is long before he discovered this video footage. So he already suspected her of something. I think that should not be overlooked here.
Just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there. So all right, so give me a second here, guys. I'm gonna try to find that that footage, and I'm gonna stream Danielle's channel. I hope she doesn't mind. I mean, I don't think she does. uh, so um, all right, so here we go. This video footage is long, man. All right, so I'm gonna start it from the beginning here. And there's no audio here, so right here we see I mean, I think that's Gannon in a blue jacket, maybe. Because I know Gannon was wearing a blue jacket, getting in that truck. And Tecia can't drive for shit, dude. And so why is the truck sitting there for so long right there? Okay, so that's okay, so that looks like that's Gannon that just got out of the truck. Okay. Was that okay? See, was that the front door? Right here. I can't tell who that is, but it looks like they got out of the front driver's side right there. So I'm wondering if that's Tecia that got out. Okay, so there's Gannon right there getting into the truck. And here's Tecia. Okay, so Gannon's getting into the truck. Ticia's getting into the truck. Because I'm still seeing movement right here. I'm not seeing it right now, but I keep seeing movement right here. All right, so I got to see something again here. All right, so there's Tecia getting out of the driver's side. She's going into the house, it looks like. And here's Gannon getting into the truck. That's him right here. Is that? See, I don't want to start anything. Because I mean, the footage is really grainy, you know. I mean, it's pretty clear, but it's still pretty grainy. Um, but I'm wondering if I'm seeing uh someone else in that truck in the back seat. But I don't think I'm seeing that. So Gannon's in the truck, and Tecia went back into the house, it looks like. But for what? And she seemed to be buckling him in or something. Yes, Rebecca, Gannon did have a cell phone. So again, we don't know what the police have discovered as far as that goes yet. We don't know if Gannon's cell phone was on and it pinged somewhere. We don't know anything. We know is since this video was recovered, they changed the location of the search site. And all I know about that is that it's 10 miles. It's about 10 miles away from the home. What's up, Caleb? I think it's strange, though. I think it's strange, though, that you would need to buckle in an 11-year-old boy yourself. You know, an 11-year-old kid, I'd be like, hey, put your seatbelt on, dude. We're rolling. Let's go. You know, like that's all I'm gonna do. Yeah, and I agree with you and on and on. Absolutely, that newer and I'm not gonna post. Let me, as a matter of fact, I want to see if I can take um I want to give me a second, guys. All right. I'm removing the banner. I'm not going to highlight any banners while we're watching this so that we can see everything. I'm going to bring it back a little bit cuz I want to see this is weird. Why is it taking her so long to leave? So the truck pulls out, right? Okay, and then the truck's gone. Okay. And then it cuts. Okay, so it cuts, and here comes the truck. The truck comes back. And then what does she do? She backs the truck in. All right, hold on. Okay, so she's parked on the side of the road. Hold on one second. Let me look at this. Okay. Could they have planned this, drugged the boy, dropped him off somewhere so then he can be found alive at some point, all for publicity and fame? Maybe I have an overactive imagination. I'm going to go with you have an overactive imagination there, Jane B. No offense. I mean, anything's possible, but the likelihood of that, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shoot that down. But I appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but you drug the boy and then leave him somewhere. Like, what kind of shit is that? Has it been done there in the UK twice, Jane B? That's really strange. That's wow. I can't. Yeah, I can't fucking figure people out, man. I can't figure people out, dude. Right, Caleb, I agree with you. Tecia would have to answer to where he was once he's found. That's yeah. Like the follow through doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like the grand scheme of things, the big picture, it doesn't make sense as far as a theory like that goes. Yeah, no, and I agree with you, Stole from Music. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen. Again, like Jane B said, it happened twice in the UK. So, um, people are crazy. Yo, why can't this woman drive, bro? Okay, so she's back in the truck and we're getting to the end of it here soon. So I think what we're gonna see here is Tecia getting out of the truck, but no Gannon. And yes, she does speak in a past tense regarding Gannon. Yes, that's always a sign when someone's being interviewed about a missing child or a missing person, for that matter. What's up, Tracy L? Okay, there's Tecia. She's got something in her hand. Let's try and make out what that is. It looks like, I think it looks like a box of some sort. Something that I think she can handle. It could be a folder, yeah. And on and on. I let's see that. That's weird, man. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Alicia. Good. So right there, she seems. I think it's just the drag of the video, but she seemed to kind of stumble for a second there. Right there. She could have just tripped. Snow on the ground and shit. She could have slipped a little bit. Could have probably slipped a little bit. And Burger King bag. Apparently, yeah, they like Burger King, don't they? So yeah, man. What's up, Mojo? So yeah, I'm just gonna look over chat a little bit here. Lufa, that could be a theory too. That's a possible theory too, but I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. You're saying maybe she drugged him. Let me see if I can find that here. Let's see if I can find Lufa's comment. Okay, here we go. You're saying maybe she drugged him so he wouldn't tell dad she's living foul and he OD'd. Yeah, there's a possibility. I mean, there's a whole lot of different speculation as far as there's a lot of theories flying around, and a lot of it revolves around the idea that she's living foul. Um, and the possibility that maybe he saw something and knew something, and then she didn't want to give up her military security there. I mean, you if you marry into the military, man, you're kind of set. You're always going to be okay, more or less. The government, the military takes care of their own. And so it's I don't know, man. Yeah, Jane B, that's a really good point. Nobody could ever imagine Chris Watts killing his wife and kids for a piece of ass, but it happened. I wouldn't put anything past people these days. It's where I'm at right now, actually, Jane B. You and me are on the same page, because right now I'm just kind of shocked at the things that people are capable of doing right now. This Landon kid, Landon Durham, I'm trying to figure him out, man. But we don't know enough yet. We just know that he is currently detained and being charged with capital murder as an adult. Now they're not going to execute him because he is a minor, but he's probably going to end up in prison for the rest of his life. But if there is some sort of mental instability, to say the least, him being a kid, I would argue that he may belong in a mental institution for the rest of his life, maybe, but maybe not in a prison full of a bunch of evil killers. So I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe he's evil. Maybe he's one of these kids that started listening to the wrong, or looking into the wrong shit, and surfing the dark web, and who knows? But this Landon Durham kid, man, he's got my antennas up, and he's got me thinking. So there will be a preliminary hearing for Landon Durham on February 28th, 2020. And that's when the judge will decide if there's enough probable cause in the case to go to a grand jury. So, yeah, so we're talking about a kid here, different case, but Landon Durham, 16 years old, reportedly murdered with a knife, murdered his mother and 13-year-old twin brothers. So this is a very disturbing case, because his mug shot, he looks happy. To me, I mean, we're either talking about, look, the details of this case that I know so far, which isn't much, but the details of this case I know so far is this kid in the middle of the night murdered his mom, his 13-year-old twin brothers, and then went back to sleep, and then got up and went to school. Now, this in his mugshot, he's kind of half smiling. He doesn't seem to have a care in the world. So this is a kid who's either pure evil, right? All right. Thank you for those 29 of you that stuck around. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's crazy that I could still get on like the same that I can get on the same stream after the fact. I think that's crazy. That I could still get on the same stream after the after this happens. Like I had to reboot my computer and everything. Oh, thanks for having me, Caleb. I appreciate it, buddy. Oh, don't call yourself a fan. That's weird. don't ever refer to yourself as a fan. That's just gonna scare me. I'm I'm just some dipshit who got on a. This is like, you know what this is? This is like public access. Like any asshole can get on here and do this. I'm not doing anything like. So, yeah, this is all this is. But I appreciate everybody who subscribed and likes to kick it with me here. I love that, and I'm grateful to you guys, especially everybody who stuck around, man. That's really cool. Especially after all that, and I was just kind of just hanging out in the chat with you guys. That's yeah. Oh shit, my shit's buffering now too. So is it buffering for you guys right now? Oh man. Okay. All right. No more buffering. I think we're good. Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking around. Yeah, so we were talking about Landon Durham, and how he is charged with stabbing his mother and twin 13-year-old brothers. I'm gonna go ahead and share some of these images. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and share some of these images. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, look at this kid, man. Yeah, look at his mugshot. That's interesting to me. And here's what looks to be him and his mom together. Slow ass computer. That's what this looks like. Him and his mom. Look how much he looks like his mom too. And he seemed to really love her, you know. And here's him, his mom, and two brothers, the twins, the 13-year-old twins. So yeah, this kid, I mean, you know what, he's in this picture right here, Landon. He's given me the vibe of Corey Feldman's character in Stand By Me. Do you guys remember him? What was his name in that movie? he had a funny name. Teddy Duchamp, I think it was Teddy. So he's got that vibe here. Do I want to? What am I doing here? Okay, yeah, I'm blowing it up here. See, he's got the glasses, he's got the hair, and he's got the army shirt on. So I wonder if he was like, I wonder if he's like a big military nut, one of those kids. Uh, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really positive thing to idolize soldiers. These are real heroes. You know what I mean? So I think that's a positive thing. So I'd hate for that to be something that has to do with why he did what he's charged with. So I find that interesting. Um, so Soul for Music, he's charged with capital murder. He's charged with stabbing his mom and two 13-year-old twin brothers to death in the middle of the night, and then apparently went back to sleep and then got up for school and went to school. So this is super bizarre to me. And again, Critical K has been covering this case. And I'm not gonna confirm anything, but Critical K and I we definitely discussed the possibility of covering this case together. So no promises on that. Just she's already begun, and then we briefly discussed the possibility today. So we'll see what happens. But Caleb, the state is Alabama, Talladega County. But yeah, thank you for dropping that link, Doodlebug, because Critical K actually she definitely did a live earlier tonight about this case, and that was her introduction to her covering this case. So she's gonna go. Apparently, she's going to dive pretty deep into it. So be ready for that and be on the lookout for that. So if you're not subscribed to Critical K, go ahead and subscribe to her because she's going to be covering that case. She's already begun to. Yes, Caleb, Alabama does have the death penalty, but I am of the understanding that he will not, even though he is charged with capital murder and being charged as an adult, the fact that he's still a minor remains. I don't think that they're going to execute him because he's a minor. I think there's a stipulation there. I don't know much about it. Again, I'm not an attorney, and this is just stuff that I've heard. So what I'm thinking is, since he's only 16, and what I've heard is because he's only 16, that has some reason, that holds some reason as to why he won't be executed, even though it's capital murder. But he will get life in prison, in an adult prison, if convicted. And it stands to reason that that we can suspect insanity here, because like I said earlier, before our technical difficulty here, he right, okay, there we go. See, Caleb, I knew I liked you, dude. So U.S. Supreme Court ruled it's illegal to execute juveniles in 2005. Okay. So that explains that. And he it stands to reason that since his behavior surrounding the details that we know so far indicate either he's just completely cold-blooded and evil, or he's mentally unstable, to say the least. Probably, it could be argued right now, based on the little that we know, that he's not aware of the magnitude of his own actions. We're talking about a 16-year-old kid, and who seemed to get along great with the people of his family who he's accused of killing. And apparently after he committed this horrible crime, this heinous act, he went right back to sleep. And then got himself up and went to school. And then in the mugshot, he seems to just not seem to care. So it's interesting to me. His behavior surrounding the events, or the events involving his behavior surrounding this crime, it's very, very bizarre, very interesting to me. Hey, Des Harris, how's it going? Yeah, he looks like he's half smiling and on. He does. But again, I spoke about that earlier, and this is a little part, the very little that I did hear from Critical K. She made a very, very valid point about that mugshot. Again, he's 16 years old. B, that is only a snapshot of time. We have no idea what the circumstances were in that room involving that mugshot being taken. We just don't know. We don't know if he, if a guard made him laugh, or if they were going out of their way to try to make him feel comfortable because he's a kid. We don't know anything. We have no idea what the circumstances surrounding that situation were in those moments, surrounding when he had that mugshot taken. So we can't look too deeply into that. We've seen pictures misinterpreted regarding situations surrounding a photograph. So we can't jump to any conclusions about that just yet. But I am very, very interested in this case. And if it turns out that I'm not going to cover the case, I don't think. I'll probably talk about it. I'll probably have a few opinions on it, but I'm not going to cover it the way that I cover Heidi Broussard and Gannon Stauch. I always try to avoid saying his last name because I don't know how to pronounce it and I don't want to look stupid, but nobody seems to understand. Nobody seems to know how to pronounce this kid's name. So I'm only covering those cases with Danielle from Real Massacre Talk. I wouldn't be doing it by myself because I'm not a true crime channel. So if I end up covering this case, it will be, excuse me, I'm getting tired. It will be under the circumstance of working closely with Critical K on it. If that even happens. So if that does happen, then I'm down, and then I'll go balls deep in it and we'll discuss it. But yeah, that's pretty much what that is Facebook fuckery. Like, my group is it's pretty much an anything goes kind of group, guys. So yeah. So, and I let everybody in there. I don't give a shit. But Mignon and Shannon pretty much keep it alive. And look, I got a request from somebody to join the group just now, so I'm gonna go ahead and approve that person. And so yeah, man, everybody's welcome in that group. So yeah, man. So yeah, definitely subscribe to Real Massacre Talk. And I think that's the last time, guys, I'm gonna yawn on here. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. I absolutely love hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate you guys sticking around while I worked out this computer thing. But anyway, I love you guys very, very much. And thank you guys very, very much. Finger guns at you. And we will do this again soon. Have a good night.